On January 29, 2025, the world was stunned by the tragic news of the mid-air collision between American Airlines Flight 5342 and a U.S. Army UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter in the skies over Washington, D.C., which claimed 67 lives. However, sadness soon gave way to suspicion. Questions were asked about what exactly a military helicopter had been doing, flying so close to a commercial jet in the first place, and in airspace right over the U.S. Capitol. On social media and online forums, endless theories abounded. Some even believed this was no accident at all. Indeed, the Black Hawk had been performing no ordinary training exercise, but the truth was something few would ever have expected. The helicopter's mission that fateful night was top secret, one that hadn't been carried out in real-world conditions since 9/11. The collision. The night in question, the Black Hawk had lifted off from Fort Belvoir in Virginia. The crew, Captain Rebecca M. Lobach, Chief Warrant Officer Andrew Eves, and Staff Sergeant Ryan O'Hara, were members of the U.S. Army's 12th Aviation Battalion, which typically dedicated itself to routine VIP transport missions. Following Route 4, a standard flight corridor along the Potomac River, they navigated the dark skies over Washington using night vision goggles designed to offer excellent visibility. Nothing seemed to suggest any difficulties during the flight. Yet suddenly, at approximately 9 p.m., something went drastically wrong. The Black Hawk's crew found themselves heading straight into the flight path of American Airlines Flight 5342, inbound from Wichita with 64 people on board, as it was making its final approach to Ronald Reagan National Airport. The result was catastrophic. The passenger jet's left wing sliced through the Black Hawk's fuselage, instantly disabling the helicopter and sending both aircraft plummeting into the icy waters of the Potomac River. Rescue operations commenced immediately, but the outcome was grim. There were no survivors from either aircraft. The theories. As word of the tragedy began to spread, many wondered how it could possibly have happened in the first place. It simply didn't seem possible that an advanced military helicopter, flown by highly trained personnel, could collide with a commercial aircraft in one of the most tightly controlled airspaces in the world. It soon became clear that the civilian flight had done nothing out of the ordinary that could have caused the accident, so inevitably, attention began to turn to the Black Hawk and what it had been doing that night. People demanded answers. A few even seemed to make the sinister implication that the collision could have been deliberate. On X, formerly Twitter, one commenter wrote, quote, "Pretty much looks like the Black Hawk flew directly into the plane." Another added, quote, "It's impossible that the helicopter pilots did not see the plane right in front of them." The response. As rumors swirled around the internet, it was time for the government to offer an explanation. The day after the incident, representatives of the press were summoned to the White House. Newly appointed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth calmly explained that the helicopter had been on, quote, "a routine annual retraining of night flights on a standard corridor." However, he also revealed something far more interesting, that this retraining was specifically for a so-called continuity of government mission. Hegseth refused to elaborate further, saying that he would not share classified information. However, his admission had just pulled back the curtain on one of the military's most closely guarded operations. Continuity of government. Though many details surrounding continuity of government, or COG missions, remain shrouded in secrecy, some information about them has emerged. Carried about by the 12th Aviation Battalion, to which the doomed Black Hawk belonged, with support from several other units, continuity of government missions have an essential function. In the event of an attack on the United States, whether by a foreign country or a terrorist group, or any other national emergency, they provide for the evacuation of key officials to safe places in order to guarantee their survival. This is not simply about politicians trying to save their own skins. In a major crisis, stable leadership could mean the difference between an effective response and utter chaos. These operations trace their origins to the Cold War, when President Eisenhower established measures to ensure the United States government could continue operating even after a nuclear war. The plans were comprehensive. Every federal agency was required to have detailed strategies for mass evacuation and relocation from the capital. Special communication systems were developed, underground command centers were built, and protocols were established for the succession of leadership in case top officials fell victim to an attack. Even Congress had its own secret bunker, hidden beneath the Greenbrier Resort in West Virginia. However, the end of the Cold War did not mean these precautionary plans were no longer necessary. The U.S. government would have to evolve to face new threats. The most detailed glimpse of these operations actually being carried out comes from September 11, 2001, the last time such a mission was activated in earnest. After flying hijacked airliners into the World Trade Center in New York City, the Islamist terrorist group Al-Qaeda carried out a similar attack on the Pentagon. As panic engulfed Washington, the 12th Aviation Battalion sprang into action, tasked with transporting senior leaders to secret hide sites, including the Raven Rock Mountain Complex, a facility near Camp David known as Site R, which features an underground nuclear bunker. Nonetheless, the shocking act of terrorism committed that day brought unforeseen challenges. That evening, the Black Hawk in charge of picking up then Deputy Secretary of Defense Paul Wolfowitz found that the Pentagon's helicopter landing pad had been destroyed in the attack. Forced to improvise, the crew instead landed on the closed I-395 highway circling the military headquarters. As of 2025, Raven Rock remains one of 3 main government backup facilities and the primary one for Pentagon leadership. And as such, it is maintained in a state of constant readiness for any eventuality. Garrett Graff, an expert on such operations, explains, quote, "It's 100% operational today. There's a team of maybe 100 personnel inside Raven Rock right now, ready to pick up the pieces of the U.S. government." The explanation. Continuity of government missions are clearly of vital importance, but naturally, questions emerged as to why this sensitive training was being carried out in one of the United States' busiest air corridors. Some have suggested that it should have been conducted in a less heavily transited area, where the Black Hawk would have been less at risk of an accident. Nevertheless, Hegseth defended the necessity of carrying out the mission in the skies over Washington, D.C., in order to achieve an adequate level of realism, saying, quote, "You need to rehearse in ways that would reflect a real-world scenario." Justifying the decision to conduct training missions which involve a certain level of risk, he added, quote, "The military does dangerous things." Indeed, it seems highly likely that an actual continuity of government operation would require aircraft to whisk officials through the heavily trafficked airspace around Reagan National, given its extremely close proximity to the Pentagon building, which lies around a mile north of the airport. Yet in the days that followed, troubling details began to emerge about the flight itself. Officials briefed on the matter revealed that the Black Hawk had been flying at nearly twice its permitted altitude of 200 feet when the collision occurred. Even more concerning, the helicopter wasn't equipped with new technology that would have alerted air traffic control to its path. Regardless of the importance of the Black Hawk's training mission, it seems major mistakes were committed along the way. A steep price. The mid-air collision between American Airlines Flight 5342 and the Black Hawk remains one of the worst aviation disasters in recent memory, and the nature of the helicopter's mission has only added to the intrigue. While officials have stressed that this was an accident, it has nonetheless raised serious concerns about the risks of conducting sensitive military operations near civilian air traffic. As investigators continue to analyze flight data, the accident is certain to leave a lasting impact, both on aviation safety regulations and on the future of continuity of government operations. The question remains as to how to find the balance between carrying out vital training missions in a way that accurately recreates real-life situations without putting lives, both military and civilian, at risk. In the case of the sad events of January 29, 2025, it seems that the price of preparing for catastrophe was catastrophe itself.